Good morning, students. Siren. Welcome to your English class. Students, today we are going to start a new chapter of the book The Voices. That is The Tremendous Tree by Paru Anand. Chapter number 13. Now, I want all the students to open page number 131 so we can start with our chapter. Now, tremendous tree. Now, what do tremendous means? Tremendous means terrific. Now, how a tree can be terrific? That we have to explore in this chapter named Tremendous Tree. Now, I hope that you all have opened your books with page number 131. Before starting with this chapter, let us read about our writer Paro Anand. Paro Anand, born in 1957, is a prolific author, playwright, and novelist. She is an Indian, so she has authored 18 books for children and young adult besties, writing plays, stories, novellas, and novels. Students, novellas means which is shorter than a novel, where there is very less character and it's a type of a story that is known as novellas. She headed the National Center for Children's Literature and the National Book Trust, India, and has won many awards for her contribution to children's literature. So we here get to know that Paro Anand is an Indian writer and she specially writes for children and young adults. Now let's move on to the difficult and the new words. Here you see there are 10 new words, that is, the first word is bewildered. Bewildered, which means perplexed or confused. Bewildered means confused. The next word is erratic. Erratic means not regular. Not regular. Iridescence means bright color. Iridescence means bright color. Fatalist means believer of fate. Believer of fate. Stoically. Stoically means without complaining. Better. Better is that person who bets. The next word is slake. Slake means satisfy. The next word is inaccessible. Inaccessible means beyond reach. The next word is ceremoniously. Ceremoniously means carefully. And the last word is tenacity. Tenacity means capacity to hold firmly. Now we have completed with our new words. Now we are going to start with the chapter's reading. So the first paragraph says that it was exactly a rare problem. In fact, any Delhi resident would have to agree that it was an annoyingly familiar one. It's just the timing of the whole thing which left us somewhat bewildered. Besides, of course, more than a little unwashed behind the ears. But first, let me tell you what exactly the problem was. Before you get too confused to carry on with my story, actually, what had happened was that the water supply to our colony had become not merely erratic but steadily and distressingly decreasing. For a while, people mopped their hot and bothered brows and resigned themselves to the scorching, waterless days ahead. And that, as I've said, was no rare event. So, here the author in the first stanza is saying that the problem which he is talking about it was not a rare problem. Rare means which happens at times, but this problem which he is talking is it is happening daily. Or we can say that it has become their routine problem. So he said, in fact, any Delhi resident would have to agree that it was an annoyingly familiar one. So here he says that the people who are living in Delhi, they would agree this, that this is a very annoying familiar problem we all are facing in Delhi. It's just the timing of the whole thing which left us somewhat bewildered. Bewildered means confused. Beside, of course, more than a little unwashed behind the ears. So he said, I don't know what is happening, but this problem which I am talking about always confused me. The timing it is taking, because the timing it take place, the timing in which or at the time which it happened is very confusing. Why it happened only at the same time? Why it happened or it take place only at the same time? The timing of that problem is confusing the author. In the next stanza, he says, but first of all, I want to tell you my problem before you make any other story than what I am talking about. So, here he disclosed the problem which the people of his colony are facing, and that is the problem of water scarcity. He says that the supply of the water has become very less. It had only merely erratic. It is the problem is not that the water is not coming regularly, but for slowly and slowly, without making us stress, it is getting decreased day by day. And there are people, the people who are living in that colony, they have started accepting this problem. They are resigned themselves means they are accepting this problem without by what you can say, they just accepting them without wholeheartedly. They don't accept this with their whole heart. They are accepting it. Mob their hot and bothered bros. Mob means when they swipe or when they remove the sweating from their head, from their eyebrows, when they are in tension that water is not coming. The days which are mentioned here is resigned themselves to the scorching waterless days ahead. So they have resigned themselves that in the coming time we are not going to have regular supply of water. And that, as I have said, was no rare event. So this event is not rare because everyone is accepting that in the coming days we are not going to have a regular water supply. The steady and distressing decreasing of the water supply will be there for us in the future. Now let us move on to the next stanza. The next stanza says, the branches of trees drooped with leaves, yellow at the edges like decaying, forgotten photographs. Except, I must add, a glorious Gulmohar which blazed its bounty almost obscenely in the oppressive heat. The red glow of its flower hurt the eyes with their iridescence. So here the author is describing a tree named Gulmohar. He says the branches of Gulmohar are drooped with leaves yellow. Droop means when it is here the author says that as it is the summer season and all the trees which are standing there, which are there in the colony, they have become yellow and they have all dried up. But he said that I accept that I should also add this, that in this such a very hot summer, only except one tree which was glooming bright in red color was the Gulmohar. He said the Gulmohar tree is shining bright in this heat. The red glow of its flower hurt the eyes of the irresidents with their irresidents. That means the color of the leaves, that is the bright red, they are irritating our eyes. And that is the only tree which was shining bright except all other which are dried up like an old photograph. Now, moving on to the next stanza, it says that in the meantime, however, summer wilted everything else. Birds painted, beaks open in a vain attempt to capture stray droplets of moisture. Tar burned through rubber soled shoes and blistered feet. In short, it had all the pleasure of living in an oven turned to maximum heat. To top it all, of course, our water supply was gradually turning into a mere trickle. So, here the author is describing the scenario of his colony during such a hot summer. He says that the summer wilted everything. So he said that the summer has made everything dried up. Summer have dried everything in such a harsh, hot summer that even the birds panted. Their beaks are open to just take one drop of water, of moisture in their mouth. He says the tar which is there on the road. Tar is that compound which is there on the road, black color product through which the roads are made. He said that tar which is burning hot in the summer, through that the rubber soled shoes, the shoes which have the rubber sole, they are burned. The feet have become now blistered. Blistered means in Hindi you say chale par jana. Blistered feet. In short, if he says here that in short, if I describe this whole situation, it is like that we are living in an oven. Which is say that in short, if I will describe this situation, it is just like we are living in an oven with the highest temperature. And if I add the cherry on the cake, it is that above all above of this, we are not having a proper supply of water, and it is more irritating that in such a harsh and hot summers the water supply is not gradual, it is actually decreasing. Here he says in the next stanza, we born fatalists who believe in fate, that what we will do, we will get that. Sorry. Have learned to bear all hardship stoically. The oppressive heat had effectively sapped us of any stray shreds of rebellion or active protest. So, we awoke dutifully at 4 a.m. to place empty buckets under taps and urge the precious liquid on, not unlike better at the horse race. It was only when people got about that we started hearing strange rumors that sounded so unreal to our ears and recent experience that it was decided that something must be done. Second stanza, the author says that we are fatalists, that we are born or we have been taught in such a way that whatever is there in your fate, you have to accept that without questioning it. So now we have made this our habit from our childhood, that we are without complaint, we are accepting whatever hardship is there in our fate. In this way, in the same way, we are accepting this water supply, this situation as that it is in our fate and we have to accept it. And we are making no complaints against it. And then the second line he says that we are not oppressing against this, we are not making any protest against such a problem. We are accepting this, we are not protesting against this. And even it we have dutifully we have make this our duty that we will get up early in the morning, we will put our bucket under the tap and we will wait till the time it will fill. But we will not protest because we have accepted that it is there in our fate. And they say we are not betters who are betting who will come first and who will come second. We are just waiting for the right time till the time our bucket will fill. We are not racing with each other. And in the next line he says that this situation continues till the time when we heard a rumor. This was going on very smoothly, but a day come when there was a rumor in our colony that rumor will be disclosed later on, but he says this situation continues. But when that rumor comes into our ear, on that day we all decided that we will stand against this problem of water, decreasing of water supply. Because suddenly what has happened that the supply of the water has decreased. Now this has made everyone to stand up for themselves, and now they will make a decision on it. This was all for today's class, and we will continue this chapter in our next class. Till that time, take care students. Thank you.